Look, the world is on fire. We need something to look forward to. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I'm taking you through some of my most anticipated books for the second half of 2022. I'm filming this a little bit late into the month of July, so there is a possibility that some of those have already come out, but don't let that put you off going to pick them up if you like the sound of them. First on the list is The Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis, which came out on the 7th of July. This is about Natalie, who lost her partner Russ a couple of years ago. She's now kind of really starting to move on, do the things that she used to love doing. She's rebuilding her life again, and she's on a trip into London one day and notices that at one of the pianos at King's Cross, one of the sheet music that has been set up is a song that only Russ would know. So this takes her on a whole journey of discovery as to why somebody else might know that music, if it's something that Russ left behind, or how this has gotten back into her life in the first place. Next up and coming out on the 26th of July is Booked on a Feeling by JC Lee. This is following Lizzie, who has pretty much ticked all of the career boxes that she wants to tick. She is a partner at a prestigious law firm in Los Angeles, but in a pivotal moment in her career, Lizzie accidentally passes out. So she decides to go back to her hometown, and here she meets Jack, who was her best friend when she was growing up, but when she left home, she hasn't actually seen him in years. So Jack decides that now she's back in town, this is his opportunity to get the girl of his dreams, and it's also a chance for Lizzie to kind of see what the slower pace of life is like. As you can imagine from the title, there is a bookshop involved in this story, and it's kind of a renovation project where Jack and Lizzie team up to revamp a local bookstore that's in the community. So obviously, they're going to take the romance from off the shelves and put it into their bed. Coming out on the 2nd of August is The Hookup Plan by Farah Roshan. This is the third in the Boyfriend Project series, but I wouldn't necessarily say that you need to have read the other two to have read it. I've only read the second one, the Dating Playbook, but I haven't actually read the Boyfriend Project itself, and I never really felt like I was missing out on anything. So if the concept of this book is still enticing to you, don't stress out, you can still pick it up. It follows London, one of the three friends from the book, and she is a successful pediatric nurse. She's living in Austin, and she goes back to her high school reunion and knows in the back of her mind that she just needs to have a no strings attached hookups. But she's not really expecting it to come in the form of Drew. They were kind of enemies back in high school. They never really got on with each other, but all of a sudden they just have this amazing chemistry together. However, shortly after they hook up, London realizes the real reason that Drew is back in Austin. He's here to shut down the hospital where London works at, so she has to now try and convince him to keep the hospital open, but also keep her feelings for him on the side as well. Coming out on August 23rd is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This is another feminist novel, which is kind of Ali's bread and butter. She writes them really, really well. This one follows Bree, who is working as an academic. She's working in a science lab, and everything is kind of falling to pieces. All of her equipment is going missing. All of her staff are ignoring her. So she really has to go and pander to Levi, who is the head of her lab and research project. It's just that he is a really tough nut to crack. He's never really had a warm side to him, and she knows that this is going to be a bit of a challenge. Also, what doesn't make it a whole lot easier is that personally, Levi has just never taken a shine to Bree anyway, and she can feel that radiating off him. So she really has to channel all of the energy of her hero, Marie Curie, and just go for it. Coming out on August 30th is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am so hyped for this one. I think this is the one that I'm the most excited for on the whole list. The titular Carrie Soto is a tennis player. She was world number one back in the 1980s, but she retired in about 1989, 1990. But at Wimbledon in 1995, a new upstart comes and smashes the world record that Carrie Soto had set. Carrie is not one to take this lying down, so she, with her dad as her coach, comes back onto the scene for one final year to try and win back this record that she's had. I know that Taylor Jenkins Reid is going to absolutely blow me away with this book. She writes such phenomenal historical fiction that I have loved every single one that I have read so far, and I know I'm going to be in capable hands when I pick this one up. Released on September 6th is The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. She is the author of The Spanish Love Deception, and this is the second book in the series. It follows Lena's friend Rosie, who has just quit her job to follow her passion and her dream of becoming a romance writer. However, tragedy strikes when her ceiling completely collapses and makes her apartment inhabitable. For this time, while her friend Lena is away, she remembers that she's got a spare key, so she asks Lena if it's okay to just crash in her house for a couple of weeks while the repairmen are in to sort out her apartment. What Rosie doesn't know is that Lena has already given the apartment to her cousin Lucas and has completely forgotten to tell her this. Lucas offers to let Rosie stay as well, and of course, they were roommates turns into they were something extra. Coming out on the 18th of October is Partners in Crime by Alicia Rye. This is a romance novel with a little bit of a thriller, mystery, heist kind of a situation thrown into it as well. It follows Mira, who is a successful accountant. She is 35, but she's getting ready to settle down. She's had a bit of a wild streak in her past, but now she's ready for a marriage and for kids and for a family and for everything that she's been waiting for her life. So she signs up for an Indian matchmaking service and is set up with Naveem. He is an English professor and they are put together. However, just when everything is starting to go well, Mira receives the news that her aunt in Las Vegas has passed away and she has to head out to Vegas to sort her aunt's affairs out and to settle the estate. But it turns into a bit of a heist. They have to evade kidnappers, art thieves, they have to consort with hackers, and there is just so many hijinks that are going to bring Mira and Naveem a little bit closer together. Coming out on the 10th of November is The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. If you are a fan of time loops, if you're a fan of Groundhog Day, if you read In a Holidays by Christina Lauren and loved it, you might really enjoy this one. It follows Gwen, who is not exactly having the best time in the lead up to Christmas. She's recently been dumped. Her career isn't going super well. She's having a little bit of trouble at work. So she heads back to her family with the hopes that everything is just going to clean slate for the new year. However, somebody in her family makes a wish that it could be Christmas every day, and that is what happens. She wakes up the next morning and it is Christmas Day all over again. When Gwen realizes that somebody has made this wish, she has to do her best to make sure that it happens every day, but happens perfectly so that she can get out of the loop. And also she realizes a lot about her family that she never really knew in the first place. Published on November the 22nd is Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. This is the second in the Bright Fall series and it follows Astrid, who is Delilah from the first book, Stepsister. Astrid is coming out of quite a tumultuous year that she has just had. Her last relationship has just broken down and she's now kind of striving out for herself, trying to find a new way to live. She's approached by Jordan and asked to renovate a hotel, kind of B&B in the area. But Jordan and Astrid clash immediately. Could it be because there's actually genuine aggro between the two of them? Or are they trying to fight with some feelings that they've got for each other? Coming out on December the 13th is A Million to One by Adiba Jagadar. This has pretty much everything that I want in a book because it is sapphic and it is set on the Titanic. That was all I needed to hear. I was immediately in. But when I heard as well that it was a heist, sign me up. It follows a thief, an artist, an actress, and an acrobat. And you may think that none of these four people will have anything in common. And you would be correct, except that they have one shared goal. They have to try and steal the Rubaiyat, which is a diamond-encrusted book that somebody has brought on the Titanic, and it is their life mission to bring that book off the ship with them. Now, we all know what happened to the Titanic, so I am imagining that something's gonna go wrong halfway through this book, and I am very intrigued to find out what that something is going to be. Those are just some of the books that I cannot wait to get my hands on for the next couple of months in the year. Are there any of those that are also on your list? Or do tell me one book that you cannot wait to read. And if you cannot think of anything to say, then just leave me the book stacks emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.